Okay, here we go again. This is a voiceover for the jacket that I made / embellish. I'm gonna call it the leather mandala bling jacket. And so I'll just kind of speak about how the process went and what I did. I started by forgetting to take a before picture.
So stupid!
So that's definitely something I need to get better at. I am super forgetful. I wake up in the morning and forget what I was just doing. I'm a lost little puppy. Somebody save me. Somebody love me. Okay, no, I'm not. I don't have daddy issues. Okay, so what I started out with was using my Cricut to cut out white pieces of vinyl into mandala shapes, and then I most of them were white, some of them were colored. But I wanted to use acrylic paint markers to color them in and get like a certain color palette going. I really didn't know what I was doing. I've never painted on leather before. I also even used like some gel pens for this part where I'm kind of marking out some beaded detail type looking things. There was a lot of touch-ups I had to do on this one. Actually, the full story is I started this a year ago, and I even was living in a different place at the time, different town, different apartment, and I started it there with really no direction at all. I even had like taken out the stitches of the inner lining because I wasn't sure if I was gonna be stitching applique to it, and then I never ended up stitching, like I never ended up needing that opening. So at the end I did end up having to close that. But also what happened was, in order to kind of like seal it and secure everything that I had done, I was planning on doing layers of sealant in between. And so I have this acrylic sealant. It's a matte spray finish. And so I think it was like my first or second layer of that I started to realize that it was causing some clouding to the leather. So I got really discouraged and I just stopped working on it. It actually sat on my mannequin for a long time until I finally decided to finish it and just go with it. I really didn't have a whole plan going. I really have never done it before, didn't know what I was doing, but sometimes that's the best way to go. I don't know if that's true or not, but for me, that's kind of what I do. So that's all I know. Just looking at something and saying, oh, this thing could be cooler. And then you take it and stare at it for a couple of days. And then you know, wave some sage around. No, you stare at, and if you get an idea, you go with that. But if you don't get an idea, you just start doing stuff anyway. And you're like, okay, yeah, it's starting to look cooler. And then sometimes you're like, no, this looks worse. And that's when you have to say, am I even an artist? Am I good at this? Am I stupid? Am I ugly? Is this why those kids used to laugh at me and pushed me off the bleachers in 3rd grade? And you second guess everything in your life. And then you third guess everything else. And then you say, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna do what feels right. And then you just start doing some more stuff. And if somebody likes it, cool. If not, you call the police on them and report them for stalking and hate crimes. And then you turn them in, and then you become a fugitive because everyone starts to realize that you're making up police reports, and you have to run away to another country and join the circus and make really good money as a bearded, ugly woman. You know my life.
You know my life.
I had a bunch of rhinestones, so I was like, hey, let's put these on there. So that's what I'm doing here. I started to bling it out with, again, no direction, but just pure misdirection and chaos and insanity and adrenaline. I just went with it, and actually not mad at that. It came out good. All's well that ends well, as they say. There was, I would say, probably at least 5 different, I guess, techniques / mediums that I used on this jacket. I used vinyl, paint markers, gel pens. I used stamps with just acrylic paint. I used, obviously, the glue and the rhinestones. This was a lot of work. I don't know if I were to calculate the time it took. You can kind of see by how many different outfits I'm wearing, how many days went by. But even like I said, I started it a year ago, and then when I did pick it back up this year, it definitely took me, I don't know, a month probably. Although I was working on other things as well, obviously it wasn't like 24/7 day and night just this jacket, but a lot of my time went into this, finishing it and or staring at it confusedly, wonderingly. But yeah, I guess I would have to say like total of just work time hours on it would have, it's gotta be like 80, 100, something crazy like that. I know the footage at least was over 50 hours of footage that I edited and condensed and sped up down to this less than, 15 minutes or so. I mean, look how fast I can rhinestone. I'm a rhinestone and beast. Look how fast I'm going. In all reality, I'm not always right, but I'm never wrong. And that tracks. This is when I'm putting the sealant on. It's Angelus. It worked really well. That's really all I had to do to take care of the fogginess from the spray sealant. That and a little bit of black acrylic in some spots just to be sure. But yeah, mostly the Angelus. I think I used the matte finish. I did some more touch-ups, removing some of the glue strings. Did another coat of finish sealant. Look at that bling. So this is when I decided to take off the buttons that the jacket came with. They were kind of marbleized black buttons. I took those off and I found 4 other buttons in my collection that are all different colors, but the colors went with the color scheme I had going. So I picked those out, and then I had to turn them over and use the back sides of the buttons. And then I used a little Dremel and etched some flowery mandala shapes onto the buttons. The pink button only had 2 holes, and all the rest of them had 4, so I had to make 2 extra holes in the pink one. And then I did a finish on those as well. Here I am sewing buttons on in my pajamas. Probably in the middle of the night. Took me a while to realize that I sewed the thread in an X pattern, but I realized A, it didn't look right, and B, that's not how they were originally. They were just in an equal sign pattern, but I did it in a multiplication pattern. Wrongo. I had to take this one out and redo it. So all of this that you see me doing right now, wasted, because I ended up taking it out. So that's it. That's the jacket. It's all done. Here are some pictures I took of the finished product, and thank you for watching. You can support me by sharing this video or sharing the link to my shop and just coming back to check in every once in a while on what I have going. Thanks again, and what's a good outro? May God bless all your little hearts and souls.